Hello Cancer, welcome to your tarot reading here on Dove and Serpent Tarot. Please hit the like button, leave a comment, and consider subscribing to the channel, especially if this reading resonates with you. This is going to be a general reading, so try to be open and receptive to whatever may come through during our time together. I am merely the messenger, and I ask you to connect directly with each of these cards and use your own intuition to take you beyond the details that I might provide. And remember, Cancer, that the most important part of any tarot reading is you. And there's a 5 of Cups. 5 is a number of movement, of activity. Okay, so let's put this into some context. And we're going to use our Dove and Serpent spread. As I do this, I also want to say, if there is anything that you would like me to pray over or meditate upon or send positive energy toward, please let me know in the comments. Okay. We're going to continue with the path of the serpent here. A lot of good earth energy, a lot of really strong energies. I think we're really accomplishing a lot right now. We're going to do a mystery card, bonus card, confirmation card. We're going to use the Waite-Smith deck. And as I do this, I want to also say that we're going to put the alien right on top. We're not going to look at that until the end. Okay. I'd also like to stress that it's very important that you try to invoke your own intuition, right? As the interpreter, I might not always know how to associate these cards directly with your life. Okay, so it's very important for you to try to connect with the images and the energies. All right. Now, I think we've got a good vibe going, you and I, because I'm a Cancer sun. And whether you're a solar Cancer, lunar, or ascending Cancer, we always have really, really special readings when we do Cancer, you know. First thing is this 5 of Cups. So it is, there is a lot of movement in your emotional life. It could be in your love life, romance, could be with family, could be with your own, just kind of your own internal personal stuff. Okay. I kind of want to take this in conjunction with the 3 of Swords that we see in the past, behind us, right? I think it has a lot to do with this 3 of Swords. I think that the movement of this emotional energy is us processing a lot of past trauma, past negative experiences, pain, sorrow, all that stuff. I don't want to dwell on that. The reading's not about all of that negative stuff. The reading is about you processing that, feeling how that felt, right? Having an emotional, allowing yourself to have an emotional reaction to things from the past. And then letting that stuff go, right? These 2 cards here, they're both active, right? They're both odd numbers, so they indicate movement outwardly. This is not holding on to anything. This is about outward movement. We're not reaching out to grasp something. Maybe we're reaching out to let something go. Right? And I think the 3 of Swords is the memories, you're reliving certain memories or experiences, traumatic events, etc., that perhaps at the time you didn't allow yourself, or maybe you were just too young, or the circumstances were such that you didn't have the full emotional response at the time, right? But now you're processing these things again, perhaps in some counseling or therapy, psychotherapy, psychological counseling, psychiatry, even something along those lines. Or your own spiritual work, right? Your own relationship with a spirit guide or a spiritual counselor of some sort, whether a physical person, which we do see some court cards here that may indicate that there is someone in your life who you're able to have these conversations with, right, as you process all of this emotional energy. Or it could be a non-physical intelligence, okay? Could be a spirit guide, guardian angel, that sort of thing. But the main concept here is that there's movement now. Maybe these things were really kind of locked up in your memory. You hadn't really thought about them. There was no circumstance in which you thought these would ever come up again. You weren't excited to talk about them or to think about them. But I see there's movement here now, and I think that this is a processing and a letting go. Okay? It's a processing and a letting go. And Seven of Wands, another active card. It is difficult. It is taking effort on your part. Right? It's something that you have to push through. You're kind of fighting through this with a lot of courage, I might add. A lot of courage. And I don't know what these experiences are. I don't want to know. It's not for any of us here to ask you. This is something intensely personal. You're more than welcome to reach out to the channel, to the community here at the channel, for love and support and for light and for prayers. But this is an intensely personal experience that you're going through. And I'm happy that you're finding the strength to do it, because the 7, even though it is a struggle, it's a challenge, it's something that we have to push through. It's not weakness. This is talking about tremendous strength, right? You know how strong that central little stick has to be to push through and to resist or even fight and win against these really strong, firm 6 wands that are back there. This card is the David and Goliath card, really. But there are 6 Goliaths. So this is real bravery and courage in the face of overwhelming odds. An overwhelming, a kind of looming challenge before us. But you've got the courage to do it. And I think that is wonderful that we have such active cards here. We have active mind, active heart, active spirit, soul, right? The only thing we don't have yet is an active earth energy, but we kind of do. We kind of do with this Knight of Discs. This is the fire of the earth. So all of this movement, all of this forward-moving progress, this breaking through, fighting through, pushing through, and letting go, whatever all this activity is really being put into productive things, constructive, healthy activities, right? You're doing all of this in a very constructive way, right? This is at the top of the path of the dove. This is what you're aspiring to. This is what you're focused on. You're doing all of this difficult work so that you can start really being productive, being creative, manifesting your will, having the success and the achievements and the confidence and all of this stuff that you want. So you're putting all of this to really good use. And this is you either focused on your health and your well-being, focused on your career, your work, your finances, focused on even relationships with family. It's a real kind of earth thing going on, right? So I think family, I think the work that you do, the way that you fit into the physical environment, whether that's the family or the work environment or your financial environment, whatever it might be. This is really kind of freeing up a lot of your vital energy, right? It's really breaking up all of this kind of frozen stuff inside of you that you can now apply to any area of your life that you want. So this is intensely productive. And directly beneath that, we've got this Eon card. Judgment, rebirth, reawakening. This was kind of the trumpet call for you that said, look, your future is waiting for you. It's time to get a move on, right? It's time to get a move on. This is the doorway of fire, the portal. Excuse me, my voice has been so terrible. the portal of fire that is before us that we really need to get through. Okay. On the other side of that is all of this really terrific energy, but we have to get through this doorway. And this doorway is going to hurt. I mean, it's on fire, right? So this is the kind of going through the fire that you're involved with right now. And you realize that you have to go through the fire to get to the other side, to get through this doorway. You've heard the trumpet call. You've heard the call to action from spirit, from your conscience, from your soul, yourself, whatever it might be. And now you're doing this work so that you can achieve everything that's meant for you. You can achieve your full potential. You can really unleash yourself, right, into the future. And that, I think, is being done through this Mercury energy. This is the magician. This is learning how to turn everything to an advantage. Learning, I think, is the key word here. This is learning through all of this active, kind of painful energy that we see here. You're learning a great deal from all of this, right? By processing and letting go of this energy, or whatever you're doing with it, you're learning a lot about yourself. You're learning a lot about the manipulation of energy, about the movement of energy around within you, right? You're learning about your own psychology, your own spiritual path, your own career path, your emotional path, all of that stuff. This is a card of great, great learning. The only caveat here is that all of that learning, all of this knowledge of self that you're getting, all of this experience and understanding, all of this data that you're collecting now could possibly weigh you down. So we don't want to be so concerned with the knowledge and the data collecting that we forget that we're supposed to be walking through this door. Because it's easy for the magician to kind of get stuck in the center of the circus, right? Or up on stage, just manifesting things, just going through their routine, forgetting that the show's over, they've got to move on to the next town, right? They're just, for days on end, empty theater. They're just up there, rabbits out of the hat and the flowers and the scarves and all this kind of stuff. They're going through all of their arsenal, their entire playbook, right? They're just kind of practicing everything that they know to an empty theater, because they should have been on that last bus, to the next town. So this is the way that we could kind of get stuck in this process. And I think that's, I'm no psychologist. I'm not qualified to be any kind of counselor or anything like that, okay? But in my experience with counseling and psychotherapy is that we may mistake the path itself for the goal, right? We may be so wrapped up in psychoanalysis and psychology for its own sake and really get stuck in the process and kind of lost in that process, not really remembering that, in a certain sense, it's a means to an end, right? And I think this is a double-edged sword, because I have certain feelings about this that I'm not going to get into exactly, but I think in typical kind of psychology, medical psychology or whatever it's called, the idea is to get you through it as quickly as possible so that you can return to being a productive member of society, right? That's one extreme. Let's rush through this so you can get back to work, right? Start paying taxes. On the other hand, if we drag this out too long, we're just indulging in all of this inner work and all of this psychological work, and we're not doing anything productive. Now, I'm not just saying you got to go out and get a job just so you can contribute to society. I think that's a very good thing. But for you to start manifesting your life, get back to your real work, right? It doesn't have to be what you do for money. It doesn't have to be your job. But get back to your work, your purpose, your creativity, okay? So it's really a fine line that we're walking between just rushing through this energy so that we can get to work, right? Or taking way too much time in this energy and then we never get to work, right? I hope that makes sense. I hope you're not offended by any of that. It's not trying to be a criticism or a critique of the mental health care system, kind of. But I think in terms of our creativity, right? And that's the kind of the uncertainty about Mercury, the magician here. They're a bit of a trickster, this Mercury, Hermes, right? Everything's well and good. They have good intentions, but there's always that kind of caveat. There's always a little bit of irony involved here. So with all of this experience doing this energy work, we could get lost in that energy work and we forget that we're supposed to be, building our life, manifesting. So that is why we have these two Earth court cards at the top of the path of the Dove, reminding us that all of the path of the Dove work, everything right here, falls under the auspices, under the umbrella of this Knight of Discs, taking our creative energy and manifesting our life, right? Being productive, not in terms of taxes and jobs and employment and all that stuff, in terms of your own self-expression, your own fulfillment of your spiritual purpose, right? Jobs, taxes are very good. We've got to pay our taxes, we've got to work, got to contribute to society. But we also need creative spiritual fulfillment, right? We also need to be doing something that we feel connects us with ourself, with our true self, and with the world around us, okay? And that might manifest through a certain career, job, employment, charitable work, certain organizations, whatever it is. But that's why the Knight of Discs is up here, to remind us that all of this energy down here needs to stay focused on the plan here, okay? And the same thing on the path of the Serpent. We've got that Queen of Pentacles. And that is saying that everything that we're kind of doing, once we get through this doorway here, right? And we're out in the world now and we're ready to start our work and take action. We don't want to get lost in all of this very interesting energy. We want to remember that we have to, especially with the water energy, right? Because this is the Queen of Pentacles, the water of the earth. All of the work that we do, all of the manifesting that we do, we have to remember that loving, compassionate, connected, meaningful, purposeful side of it, right? Over here, it's all about the fire. It's all about taking that energy and putting it into your work. This is about taking all of that water energy, all of that love and compassion, the empathy, the connectedness, the joy and pleasure that we're feeling. We have to remember to manifest that in our lives and not just kind of indulge in it internally or intellectually even. We have to then translate it into action, into work, into something tangible. Even if it's our relationships, our connections with other people, the things that we're producing, the things that we're doing. So I think that the manifesting is important in both of these areas. Now, moving to the path of the Serpent, we start with this Priestess energy. And the Priestess energy is a real increase of this kind of a spiritual enlightenment, kind of a spiritual joy. This is an enthusiasm. This is the idea of really, when I say enthusiasm, I really mean like a joy of being alive, the intense joy and eagerness to start doing activities. This is just the influx of this spiritual love that is really, really indescribable. Okay, so I'm not even certain which words to use to describe this, but this is This is the intense feeling of love and joy that it just permeates your entire body, your entire soul, your mind. It is the feeling that you have infinite potential, that you have a guardian angel guiding you. This is a real divine love, right? A real spiritual feeling of love. And it's easy to get kind of, what do they call it? Moonstruck, right? Where we're just so enamored with this feeling and the source of this feeling that we don't take action. We don't move. We don't manifest. We just want to feel this. We just want this bliss 24 hours a day, you know? And so that is, again, kind of a double-edged sword, right? Because we want this, but we don't want to get so lost in this that we're just kind of mesmerized by it, that we're entranced by this wonderful feeling, that we don't start taking action, that we don't manifest it in some way. And so we have the Queen of Pentacles, okay? Showing that moon energy, that full moon energy, the full moon above us, we just get transfixed on it. We get just enchanted by it. We have to translate that into action, into connections, into work, into productivity. You know, whether that's building a family, friendships, building a business or a charity, whatever it might be. Just putting it down on paper, being a writer, an artist, a musician, whatever you do, whatever your work is. Even if you work in an office, whatever it is, anything, everything. The next card is the Six of Wands. I was going to call it the Three of Wands because this is the Three of Wands within you, finding harmony in the Three of Wands in the rest of the world, in someone else, externally. So this is the connection between you and very like-minded individuals. This is you finding connections with people who are really on the same page as you, right? Your kin. People with whom you can really resonate. These are your people. This is in the position of your environment. So you're finding your people. And this is either shared experiences, people that have been through similar things, that have done the kind of energy work that you're doing, or in the same creative fields or work fields, or just people with whom you can relate, right? And this is another terrific byproduct, really, a result of you doing all of this energy work from the path of the dove, is now you're going to recognize your people, right? You're going to recognize your people. But again, the double-edged sword there is we get so wrapped up in that we're just kind of socializing and fraternizing rather than being productive. We have to put that to good use. We have to remember that Queen of Pentacles. The next thing is the water energy, the Seven of Cups. This is in the position of what we don't want. So this one I think is a real thing to be careful with. And looks like our cameras are overheating. See this, we're getting closer to this fiery doorway here, and this whole room is starting to really get quite an intense heat, where the cameras don't usually overheat like this, but today they're about to. The Seven of Cups here is the indulgence in these things that feel good, right? When we're happy, when we're excited, when we have a little bit of that full moon enchantment and love, when we feel like we've found our people, what are the impulses there? What kind of things do we feel like we want to go do? Okay. I don't want to get too specific because I don't want to make it that kind of reading. But this might be the indulgence in some things that we have this kind of false sense of confidence, this bravado now that just says, I feel so good, I want to go out and do XYZ. But that XYZ is going to put us right back to where we started with all of this energy work here and these cards here. So that's what we don't want. And so this card is in the position here of our concerns, or what we're worried about. we're worried about kind of getting lost. This is the last step here. Everything else is just so perfect that maybe we're going to feel so good that we feel like we can just go out and indulge in these things again, or get lost in this world of indulgence and illusion, and that prevents us from being productive. This probably sets us back further, right, than even these other cards. So we have to remember that as good as we feel, as much joy and pleasure and the satisfaction of desires as we kind of feel and that we want, we have to be smart about it. We have to continue to use our willpower and the fiery energy and the water energy and these discs up here, these earth cards, to overcome the real craving to go and, indulge in things that might set us back. And I don't want to be specific. You know what I mean. If this resonates with you, you know what I mean. So anyway, we end up with that Queen of Pentacles, and that is us taking both the fire energy in us and the water energy from over here, combining them into just a wonderful future. Productivity, success, enjoyment, but control still, right? We're still in charge of ourselves, and we're manifesting what we know is meant for us. Now I want to see what this mystery card is. The alien has done a fine job of looking at that for us. Alien did not tell me what this card is. I want to see something that represents this coming together, maybe of the fire and the water. I apologize for my voice again. Maybe the art or temperance card can be here. Maybe this will be a 6 of something, maybe a 6 of discs. Let's find out. Well, it is the Lover's card. So the Lover's card is very much like that art or temperance card, showing the union of fire and water. This is kind of, this is the same thing, but a little bit more manifested, right? The art or temperance card is kind of the alchemist mixing together everything to create the Philosopher's Stone, the elixir of life, right? This is the same thing, but in a more personal kind of way, right? Maybe in a more interpersonal way. This Lover's card doesn't mean that you're going to be taking on a lover or getting into a new relationship. It could be. It could be. But that might be part of this 7 of Cups, this illusion, this craving thing that we have over here. This is the uniting of the fire and the water, your willpower, but also your emotion, your compassion, your sense of purpose and destiny, your fire energy and your water energy perfectly married together to create, well, whatever you're creating, to create your life, your future, right? So this really, the Lover's card, let's all meditate on this Lover's card. Not in the context of its literal meaning, like taking on a lover, but uniting these two sides of ourselves, because this fire and water, united in the earth, united in one purpose, united in one Philosopher's Stone, right? And that they are the lovers. So we have to choose. A big part of this lover's energy is choice, right? It's kind of the traditional kind of meaning of that card is having to choose between two different suitors or two different lovers, right? You have to choose between two things that you really love a lot. You really desire both of them, and so for some reason you have to choose, right? So there is choice involved here, and what we have to do is these two have to choose each other, right? And together they create one elixir of life, one magic solution, one product, one magical child that is your future self, right? So I think this is a very interesting reading. I'm happy that the cameras have not shut down on me yet. So we're going to go ahead and move on to the extended. If you want to stick around for that, click on the link that's right up there. That'll give you access to all of the extended readings, not just for Cancer, but for all of the zodiac signs. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for letting me read for you on Dove and Serpent Tarot.